Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the voice echoed in the air, and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said, Dhan Sikhi, Dhan Sikhi, Dhan Sikhi. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said 3 times. Why? Karke 3 hun Sikh shaheediyan pa gaye ne. Because 3 Sikhs have now become shaheed, and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said, Dhan Sikhi, Dhan Sikhi, Dhan Sikhi 3 times. As they have taken Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji out of the cage, the first thing that they have said to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji, kende Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, kende tanu maut to dar nahi lagda. Kende you've just seen 3 of your Sikhs in front of your eyes, tortured and burned, boiled. Aren't you afraid of death? They said to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੌਤ ਦੀਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ what death are you talking about? They said I've spent my whole life singing the songs of death. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you talk to me about death? They said I've gone through my whole life singing about death. I've been telling the world about this death that you're trying to put fear in me about. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ when people would say about death, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ I would sing from the top of my voice, jo upajyo so bin sah परो आज के काल नानक हर गुण गाए ले शाद सगल जंजाल. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah said, I've been singing about death my whole life. Now you're asking me if I'm afraid of death? As they're singing this, they say the same things to Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah. Can they accept Islam? Can they Islam no kabool karo? Can they? But the biggest thing we want actually out of you, one thing that Aurangzeb has always wanted to see out of you, he's wanted to see a karamat, has wanted to see out of you is a miracle. We hear that you can perform great miracles, and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji laughed. Can they what? How many more miracles do you want to see? You've just saw 3 miracles right in front of your eyes. By Mati Das Ji was smiling. By Mati Das Ji was laughing. Each pore of his body was reading the Bani of Guru Nanak Sache Paatshah. What more miracle do you want to see with his eyes? Can you put my sekh in a boiling pot of water? Can you can still hear the words of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji coming out of his mouth? What? How many more miracles do you want to see? You've just seen by Sati Das Ji, even after dying, even after that breath leaving his body still fell towards my direction. How many more miracles do you want to see, you fools? Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji saying to them. Can you ਹੋਰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਿਖਾਵਾਂ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਕਰਾਮਾਤ ਵਿਖਾਓ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਰਾਮਾਤ ਵਿਖਾਲ ਕੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ. ਖੈਰ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਆਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ have you got any less wishes? ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸੀਸ ਜੁਦਾ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ before you cut my head off from my body, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ I want to have it shanaan. Okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a chaunkadi, I'm going to close my eyes. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said, when I close my eyes, I'm going to start to read Japji Sahib the Bani. But when I come to an end and I finish reading Japji Sahib the Bani, he says, how are you going to know? Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah said, I'm going to actually bow my head down to Guru Nanak Paatshah. He said, I'm going to put my hands together, I'm going to bow my head down. It says, the moment I bow my head down, this says, you do what you need to do, you can then cut my head off. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said. The executioner came and walked towards Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji, whose name was Jalaluddin. Jalaluddin, he starts to engage in a conversation with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji. He goes, you know my work that I do? I'm an executioner. He said, this runs in my family. He said, I'm from a place called Samana. And he goes, even my grandfather, he goes, he did this job too. He goes, my father did this job. He goes, my grandfather did this job. And he goes, it was my grandfather that got your grandfather shaheed, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah. He goes, it runs in my family, this job does. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji कहने अच्छा कहते एक खानदानी काम है तेरा, कहते जलाद होना, जलाद, the word for executioner means जलाद. कहते तुसी जलाद ने, ये ताड़े परिवार विच ने ये काम. कहते this runs in your family. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah is saying, कहते this might run in your family. कहते but it's a trade that runs in my family too. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Paatshah Ji said, कहते but you know your trade, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you know your trade Jalaluddin, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ your trade will one day come to an end. Your trade will not be running forever. You are not going to be executing forever. This is only going to go on for so long. Nobody is going to remember you guys. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Pacha said, but this runs in my family too. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ my grandfather, my trade of my parwar is that my grandfather is a shaheed. We run a trade of shaheedi, of shaheeds. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj said, but your trade will run out. You will not be executing for the rest of your lives. But let me tell you one thing, but my trade is never going to run out until this Panth remains, until the Sikhs remain, until this Dharti remains, until this world remains. This trade will continue and my Sikhs will keep giving shahidiyan. And Gursikh Pyaro, you can see with your own eyes, this trade didn't run out and it's going to keep going. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Pacha is saying, we're going to keep giving our blood. Our blood, as it falls upon this earth, is all it's doing is, it's making the foundation of Sikhi deeper and deeper and deeper. Because you're actually helping us, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji said. The Jalad walks away. Jalaluddin walks away and he starts to sharpen his kirpan. As he is sharpening his kirpan and it starts to gleam and it's shining, what is he trying to do? He's trying to scare Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, and Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj Ji spoke again. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Pacha is saying, you're sharpening this kirpan, you're sharpening, it wasn't called a kirpan, maaf karna, you're sharpening this tegh, you're sharpening this sword. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Pacha said, don't forget, you're sharpening that tegh. My name is Tegh Bahadur. You're trying to put fear in me with a tegh. Mera naam hi Tegh hai. My name is Tegh. Never forget, O Jalaluddin, such a time came in my life. In the 4th battle of my father, I actually had privilege to fight alongside my father, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Sache Padshah. When I was in my ripening youth, one day that tegh that you are sharpening, that tegh that you're trying to fear me with, I had that tegh in my hand. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੀ ਓ ਜਲਾਲਦੀਨਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ remember one thing you executioner, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੇਗ ਚਲਾਉਣੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੇਗ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਖਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ remember one thing, if I know how to use the sword, I also know how to take the sword. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ I am ready for your sword. Gursikh Pyare, ਉੱਥੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਹੀ ਹੋਇਆ, exactly this happened.